this could go into another conversation. Ecological Jiu Jitsu.
Ecological?
Or is it ecological? Ecological?
I don't know if those two words go together. Ecological Jiu Jitsu?
I think it's ecological. It's a way of training.
Okay.
Have you heard about this?
I haven't.
Okay. So we'll side tangent real quick for this because it does come back to the kids.
Okay.
So most jiu-jitsu instruction, physical, anything, right? It's I'm going to tell and show. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. You're going to watch, listen, and try, right? And we will go back and forth. So if I show an armbar, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Now you're going to watch me. You're going to listen to me. And now you're going to try. And we're going to go back and forth on this. That is standard, pretty much training how we teach things across the world. Ecological, if I'm saying it right. If I'm not, I honestly don't care because I think it's stupid. Ecological training is
somebody's out there. That's not it.
It's totally, there totally is. Yeah, there is. Get on mount. Your job is to, or you're on bottom. I'm on mount. Your job is to get out.
Okay.
Go. Cool. Go. We're going to do this 30 times, and you're going to figure it out.
Okay.
Right? Trial and error, 30 plus or more reps. And your job is to figure out how to get out of here. You have to get out of mount and either get into some kind of guard or get up or whatever, right? That's your job. I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
Okay.
You just have to figure it out. That is ecological training, right? The idea there is nobody told a 1-year-old how to walk.
Yeah.
They figured it out, right? Totally agree. Nobody, like, that's a slightly different situation because it's really hard to communicate with babies, right? They haven't progressed all that. And they are still learning, like, they're not just learning how to walk. They're learning, like, what the fuck is this thing, right? Like, they're like, oh my God, a hand. Oh my God, this is weird. So they're learning all of this stuff. And they're trial and error figuring out how to walk. If you had an adult who had never walked before and you could have a full-on conversation and explain things, do you think the baby that you can't communicate with learns to walk faster, or the person who you can communicate with and have a whole conversation, who's going to learn how to walk faster?
The baby.
This conversation is over.
No, I want to push, like, I've been thinking a lot about teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And yes, I think there is definitely the need to, like you were describing, where here's the technique, this is how we do the technique. And the muscle memory, all those kind of things I think are really, really important as a foundational kind of building blocks for jiu-jitsu when it comes to positioning and submissions and all those kind of different things.
Yep.
And then I think there's like a next spot where rather than teaching the armbar from the 14 different positions, the 28 different positions, all the different positions that it can be done from, it's allowing the person to learn how to move the body and that joint and that thing themselves. So it's like, here's an opportunity where we can get into this position, and from this position, you can do a bunch of different arm bars. But rather than me show you all of those different arm bars, let's play around and find them yourselves.
Totally.
Get into that position and learn how to control that person and control that appendage, and then find it. Find where you need to manipulate and move that arm, so then you know how to, there it is. And the person's going to, that's the beauty of it, is like, you're going to know when you get it because, there's the arm bar, I'm going to tap. And I think that's really, really important, rather than just thinking about it from the perspective of like, okay, here's this move, but from this position, and
100%
now I can
agree.
do this thing, and so on and so forth. It's like, there's so many different ways to do all of these different submissions from all of these different positions. And all you really need to know in the beginning is some of those real basic submissions.
Totally.
And then you just build upon it based on, okay, I know how, when I close off that part of the neck and shut off that part of the artery, now I figure out how to do that in all the different ways that we can do
100%.
that in.
Yeah, that's not ecological training.
Right.
Because you still you gave them a foundation to learn from. So it would, and to me, from the people I have talked with and what I've listened to about ecological, and I'm probably still saying this all up, right?
I love it. Let's hashtag
economical.
It might be economical.
It's not economical. It's
voodoo economics.
Yeah. Ecologically, e-commerce. You would say, I'm never going to explain to you what the armbar is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to even give you the fundamental building blocks. I 100% agree that the theory and the principles of why the armbar is a successful submission. I have 2 out of the 3 points of an arm: shoulder, elbow, wrist.
Mm-hmm.
If I can immobilize 2, I can create pain with the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop 2, move 1. Doesn't matter which one it is, right? That is the basic fundamentals of an armbar.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever that comes from, cool. But you have to have those basics to understand and then see how that can play out in the rest of the world of jiu-jitsu. So I think the idea is like, why do we teach hey, from mount, we throw this is the important stuff we want to immobilize, right? I think that you can get better at teaching that basic.
Yeah.
But then you have to go into, here's how you can find these things in other areas. And I think that if we can give somebody the basic foundations of things, and then that trial and error is using those basics and foundations, right? It's hard because it's really, how would you test this?
Ecological?
How would you test the 2 different times?
Well, there's I can see some benefit to like, hey, we're in mount, get out of mount.
That's like
you know
positional sparring and stuff.
Yeah. Like I can, because I mean, yes, there's techniques that we can implement, all the different things that we can do in order to quote unquote get out of mount or to transition from mount. But I could see the benefit of like in the beginning, because a lot of times, I mean, like when people very first come to jiu-jitsu and they know nothing about jiu-jitsu and they're like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, you're supposed to survive.
Yep.
You're supposed
not
to
die.
Right. That's all that you're supposed to do.
Focus on that.
And all the things that they naturally do to survive that are counter to what you're supposed to do in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
The only way for them to learn that is by making all of those mistakes.
Yep.
Like I was explaining it to the new girl last night, where it was like, you're going to do. It was the very simple stuff that we were showing last night, where it was just escape, like wrist control.
Yeah,
and
I saw
wrist
arm
control
drag and stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And as soon as we started rolling, she started doing all the normal things that people do in order to counter these things, which are really not good things to do in jiu-jitsu. But I can't teach her that with words.
Yep.
I can't even show her that with instructions. She has to experience that over and over and over and over again until she figures out, oh, I got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when people go to their belly, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and turn to your stomach as much as you want and push off the ground to get up. Keep doing it as many times as you'd like. I'm happy if you want to do that 100 times.
Yep. I'm going to take advantage every one.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only way people are going to learn it, because you have to rewire the brain in order to get to that spot. So I can see some benefit, and whether that's where like the biological jiu-jitsu is coming from.
Biological jiu-jitsu.
Right? The astronomical jiu-jitsu is coming from.
I like astronomical jiu-jitsu,
Right?
yeah.
If that's the basis for it, I could see some real benefit to it. I could see some real benefit to like, hey, at least from the perspective of like positioning and getting out of positions. But then I think there's that benefit, like, the technical side of submissions and arm bars and triangles and all these other kind of things that we do. I think you need, so you probably need both. It's always going to be both in my mind. If you haven't yet, take a moment and subscribe to our channel, click that little notification bell, and check out some of these other clips. Last but not least, we'd really appreciate it if you sent this podcast to somebody else. Share it with a friend, share it with a buddy, and don't hesitate to reach out. The conversations that we have on the podcast are meant to inspire you, but also we want to hear what it brings up for you. Whether you share it in the comment, send us an email, or call us up. But thanks for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode.